This is The Wheel Weaves Watches, a spoiler-free breakdown podcast of The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, and we're here to bring you an in-depth look into the Wheel of Time show. We'll share reactions, episode breakdowns, and relevant background information without spoiling future content from the book series. So let's get watching. Today we're talking about episode 3 of season 2 of The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, so episode 3 is called What Might Be.
What Might Be?
Yeah, this is definitely a good one. And rewatching it, I mean, I bite so hard on everything. And we re-listened to our initial reactions.
Yeah.
And in the past couple years, I have not gotten better at predicting things at all.
I know, that's true.
No improvement.
That's true for you. Yes, I will vouch for that.
Yes. Yeah. And even just rewatching, I'm like, ooh, maybe this time it's different. Again.
No.
And again, not how shows work.
Yeah. Not.
But really cool. I really like this is a solid episode.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's good. It grasps you and makes you want to keep watching.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's how I felt.
Yeah,
anyway.
And hits a lot of my soft spots. And this is just a repeat because I really do. I get emotional about Nynaeve's testing sequences. This is a tough one. Mm-hmm. It's a tough one. And that's the biggest chunk of this episode.
It really is. So before we get into that, there's a recap.
Okay, yes.
And the only thing I want to note is anything from the recap that's from season 1.
Okay.
So all the recap stuff is from episode 1 and episode 2, but stuff comes up from season 1 that you kind of need to remember.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you didn't rewatch season 1, this recap shows us that Logain was captured by the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And is serving as an example to other men who feel like they can also claim to be the dragon.
Right. Yes. And we will find out more about what that means.
Right. And then we also get a voiceover from the last episode of whether or not Nynaeve knows what she fears. And while we're getting that information about this testing, we see the clip from season 1 of Lan dying.
Right, okay. Yeah, where she mass heals everyone.
Where she mass heals everyone. Where he's bleeding out from the neck.
Yeah.
And then we also see the scene where she's almost burning out.
Okay.
Because Amelisa is pulling too much power through her.
Like in that last episode.
In the last episode.
Right.
And so we're wondering what Nynaeve fears, and then we just get these little glimpses of season 1 of what she might fear a little bit.
Maybe that stuff. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I thought that was sort of interesting to point out. And now, when we get into this episode, it opens...
I know.
With the longest cold open anyone has ever seen ever.
It's 20 minutes, right?
It's 21 minutes long.
Yeah, okay. I was just guessing too, but
no, it is.
Yeah.
It's... I paused it,
right.
And I saw it was 20 minutes and 55 seconds.
Yeah, because we get Nynaeve's entire sequence.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
And I actually, while I was watching it, kept thinking, is this still going on? We haven't cut away or anything. And I don't know anything about TV shows.
Yeah, maybe they just decided to skip it. But...
I have zero background in how to do anything.
Yeah. I feel like we've said that enough
works.
times that people should expect that now.
But even I am I think that we should cut away to a different character at some point, right? Isn't that how this usually works?
Yeah. Okay.
But no, it goes on for a long time without cutting away.
Yeah, so let's jump into the episode then. So I want to cover all I'm going to call it the A-plot stuff, so all the tower stuff. So that's going to be Nynaeve and everybody else in the tower who kind of links together there. And then we'll move on to the rest of the characters.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So let's talk about the accepted test. So we get the introduction to the arches, the ter'angreal.
Yep.
And the Aes Sedai know that they are things that can do stuff, and there's lots of ter'angreal.
And there's lots of things that can do stuff, but do they know what all of them do or how?
Some of them, maybe. Some of them,
lots of women have given their lives trying to study these things.
And it does seem like even the ones they know how to use, maybe that's not...
even know how
we know sort of what they do, but not how or why, and if this was even the original intention.
Oh, for sure, no.
It's so funny.
Yeah, they've just decided this is how we're gonna see if you're strong enough to become higher than a novice.
And I'm starting to think that that's a really good phrase you can use in your real life, where it's if you don't know how something works, be oh yes, it's lost to the ages.
Yeah.
To this day, nobody knows how to do this.
To this day.
Yeah. It's lost knowledge. Anyway, so the premise is you got to walk through 3 times, quick and simple. You go in, you come out, you do that 3 times, you're done. You pass. You pass your test.
Super duper easy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and by the way, while you're in there, you can't channel.
Right. You can't. Like,
You
shouldn't be
cannot.
able to.
You cannot.
Not like it's a rule and don't do it.
No, you won't be able to channel while you're in there.
Yeah.
And also, you'll probably forget why you're even in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got to keep going. If you refuse, you're going to be put out of the tower. And you can come and give this a shot 3 times before they kick you out for good.
Right.
So it does kind of make sense. Like, after we get through the arches, like, we start seeing these tests, I understand why they make the rule once you start, you have to go to the end or you're going to get kicked out. Like, I really understand that, because you don't necessarily want Aes Sedai going into try.
Going to the first one
And then
being
not-
like, never mind, that's too hard.
And then
But
going
it's
and talking to everybody about it.
and telling everybody.
Oh, that would just ruin everything, right? You don't want to give anyone any sort of, like, warning about this stuff.
No, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be a complete secret. Otherwise, it's not a real test.
Exactly.
You can't give the answers to the test.
You're a teacher, you know,
That's
you get it.
a regular thing. You're being all incredulous about this, but it's a regular thing to
Can't do
show
that.
the test to other people.
Right? And I just remember back in the day, you'd be like walking between your classes to the class who had the test before you, or if you just had the
Yeah.
test, and you're like real quick, like, hey, what's on it? Give me the answer to a couple of these questions before we go to the class.
Yeah, that's not
Same thing.
allowed, actually.
Apparently, but like, you know.
It was never allowed then, and it's not allowed now.
Well, back in my day.
Yeah, you did it, but...
You did it anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the big important thing to remember, the way back will come but once, which apparently, big lie.
Well,
Not true.
for everyone else.
For everyone else, rules don't apply to Nynaeve. That's also the message of today's episode.
Okay, well, let's get there.
Rules don't apply to Nynaeve. So let's get into the first sequence then.
Okay.
So we've got young Nynaeve. It's still like her, but we see the reflection in the water.
No, and she's wearing clothes clearly designed for a child.
Well, yeah, and the reflection in the water is
And
of
the
like a young...
reflection in the water.
I
is
understand
young
why
Nynaeve.
you want to use the same actress. Like, that makes sense too.
Yes.
We could replace her with the young Nynaeve, but we don't need to.
But then everyone would be a little confused.
I would be confused.
You specifically.
I would be confused.
Everyone else would get it.
I cannot
Brett
follow
would be
this.
confused. He had no idea what's happening.
Totally different person. I don't get it. Yeah, and I do like the callback here, so there's more Crimson Thorn making an appearance.
Crimson Thorn Root.
Yeah, we just had the big thing with Leandrin, and that was last episode.
Yes.
So this is the poisonous stuff, and then her dad's like, hey, don't.
Yes.
Because, poison.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a big ambush by some raiders.
Yes, and we get this scene that plays out that Nynaeve told Lan about
Yes.
in season 1.
Yeah, so the old tongue phrase of, we shall go into the land so our children can always hold us and we'll never be alone. It's very sweet. It's very sweet.
Yep.
And I have to imagine that this wasn't the only time that her parents ever said this phrase.
Because she remembers it. Because we talked about that last season.
Yes.
Pretty in depth, where I was like, okay, you hear that once in a traumatic situation and you remember it forever.
I can't remember things ever.
No.
There's no way I'm
And I
remembering
have
in a different language.
Much better memory. But like, if you
Yeah.
just say a bunch of things in a different language,
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah, so it had to have been said repeatedly, and so she learned it, like, what is
Yes.
it, phonetically? Like, she learned how to say
Yes,
it.
because she never knew
She
what it
didn't
meant.
understand what it meant,
Yeah.
so, yeah. But very heartfelt. And again, it's the scenes with the kids and the parents. Like, I am just a sucker for those scenes.
And I really do appreciate this scene because it is a slight variation from what we see in Nynaeve's testing in the book. However, this is a scene we know happens to Nynaeve, and it's nice to actually see it play out.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Like, she talks about it as something that happens to her. And so it's interesting to see it as a scene played out.
Yeah, and so the first sequence here, it's like pretty intense. It's pretty quick too. Like, it actually doesn't take very long.
No.
Because then she hides under, and this is going to be important for the last sequence too, obviously. Like, this is a flipperooski, we'll call it.
Yep.
From her as the child to later on in the third sequence where it's her child, right? That she's hiding from the raiders, if you will.
Yeah, and I think the idea is past fears, present fears, and then future fears.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Bring up something traumatic from your past for this one.
Yeah.
So she does see the arches reappear while she's in the basement, hiding under the floor, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
There's a
Cellar.
Cellar, that's the word. Okay. And then she goes through and she reappears. She does have a wound. So that's kind of the first implication that the stuff that can happen inside here, it can affect you, but it doesn't necessarily seem like it always happens that way. They don't know how it works.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that Liana heals Nynaeve.
Yeah.
Before she goes into the next one. Like, they're not going to send her in injured to the next one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's nice.
That is nice. But I also feel like that had to have been like a learning lesson from Aes Sedai at some point, because they really don't seem to really understand at all how it really works.
No.
At all.
And
so
even the fact that they have some conversation before she goes into the next one feels weird to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like...
I love the dunking of the water on your head.
Oh, just splash it right on you.
Yeah. And then, like, not answering any of your questions.
Well, they answered some of them, actually. I was surprised at the amount of questions they did answer.
Okay, that's fair. They don't give her nothing.
Normally, I would have bet that they would give her 0. They would give her nothing.
Yeah.
But they did answer some questions.
Yeah, and the little phrase that they're saying over and over again when you come out is you're washed free of your sins and sins committed against you. So it's like, hey, whatever happened in there, it's also really funny because they repeatedly say, hey, keep your problems to yourself, and I don't want to hear it.
Your fears are your own.
Your fears are your own.
Don't burden us with your fears.
Don't talk about it. Don't share that with me.
That's a Leandrin...
Yeah.
Don't burden me with your shit.
And it seems to be like a Aes Sedai thing in general, because we get that, I think, from Sheriam later on, too, later in the episode. Yeah. So, yeah, just keep your feelings.
Don't bother me with your stupid emotions.
Keep it to yourself, man.
I got my own shitty emotions to deal with, okay?
I had to go through there, too. No one helped me. It's like, okay, that's the problem, guys.
Yeah, that is a problem.
All right, so we do the water dunk. And we're going into the second sequence here.
Yes. And now this feels more like an at this moment in time.
Like it could potentially be happening.
Right now in the present moment fear.
Yes. Yeah. And I said it when we initially had our reactions. I'll repeat it here. I don't think this is actually happening, but it is something that could potentially be happening.
I think you said that in the initial reaction because you just couldn't bear to see Tam
still can't.
Doing well.
Yeah, I still can't bear that.
I also can't bear to see Matt's drunk mom as the wisdom.
Yeah. But I mean, it does make sense that this is something that could potentially, in some weird variation of the reality, it could be happening.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So we've got Natty saying that they wrote to the Amerlin months ago, and Nynaeve is the first sister they've ever seen because Nynaeve's like, what the heck is going on here? Everyone's sick. What's going on? And Natty is all super defensive.
She's like, you left us.
Yeah, and she blames Nynaeve for leaving, going to the tower for that stupid job.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You can't come back here and judge me.
Everything in this entire scene, deep in my core, resonates with every intrusive thought I've ever had.
Yeah.
This is every intrusive thought that Nynaeve has had since leaving the Two Rivers.
Uh-huh.
The guilt she feels about leaving this place to who knows who to help everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, it is kind of cool, too. So we got from the Aes Sedai saying, like, telling Nynaeve beforehand, you're not going to be able to channel, like, you won't be able to even tell that. But here she tries to heal Tam. She tries to do the healing with the power.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
No, but we also know
Nynaeve can't
channel
do that,
unless she's scared or angry.
Right.
She has a block.
And I guess Tam dying isn't scary enough
or enraging enough.
Rude. Okay.
She's too scared.
Yeah. Tam is so sweet, though. Tam's the sweetest.
Sad, maybe?
Maybe. But Tam's the sweetest. Don't ignore that part.
Okay, I won't.
He's the best person. I love Tam.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, because he sees that she's trying, but then he just takes her hand and says, thanks for coming here. Yeah. Like, it's good to see you one last time.
I don't think there's enough Tam in the show.
No. I could have a whole show with only Tam.
Interesting.
Even if he's just farming and making brandy, I would watch that.
You would watch Tam sheep herding?
Yeah, I would.
And picking apples?
I would, yes. Absolutely.
And fermenting apples.
I would watch that show.
Make brandy.
I would watch that.
Okay.
There's some people who I don't think we'd have enough viewership to like carry it, but
yep.
I would watch it.
I would agree with that statement very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I really do
There'd be
think
dozens
we
of
need
us.
More Tam. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so things aren't going well. And again, this is a very short sequence too. So the arches appear right after he asks about keeping him company until he dies, basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'll stay with you.
I'll stay with you.
And then immediately has to leave.
Peace out. I'm going to leave you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
That's
so then
really hard for her to do.
It is hard. It is hard. But we're going back through the arches because we got to finish this.
Right. But I do appreciate, and I know you're going to get mad at me because I'm not supposed to talk about the books.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Sure.
And I love the similarity.
Sure.
I like it.
Sure. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll give you that. Now, we come out of the arches. Water bucket dumped on her head again. Good. Sins are washed clean.
Good.
Don't burden us with your problems again.
Get back into
that last one. Get in there. Get in there. Whoa, this third sequence,
Yeah.
It's different.
And I really, truly thought, because I remembered what happened
Right.
from watching it before.
Okay, like this time you remember it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought at this moment when she goes in that we would cut
Right.
away
Right.
to something else and we'd come back to it.
Yes.
And the fact that we don't really threw me off.
Yeah, no,
And
we're
I was
powering
like,
through this.
Whoa, we're going on this a long time.
Yeah. I like it, though. I like the fact that they didn't make me wait till, like, the end of the episode for the last sequence.
Yeah.
I like that, because there was more stuff they have to give us at the end here.
Okay, but, like, what's up with the sequence?
Oh, my goodness, what's the
right?
sequence? What's
Am
going
I
on?
right? So
It's all
weird.
crazy. Flickering and stuff, and scenes are crazy, and Nynaeve's spinning, and
And
the
screaming and
Lan's voice you can hear him calling her remarkable and beautiful, and the stuff we saw from season 1.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It's wild.
And it doesn't look nice. And
it's
then
confusing and weird.
yeah, did we say it's confusing?
Confusing.
And it's weird.
And it's weird.
Okay.
And it doesn't follow the same sequence as our first two.
Well, yeah, nothing
arches.
happens. We don't see anything.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But clearly some stuff is happening.
Right,
And
it
so
seems
it's
that way.
It's an interesting viewpoint.
Right.
And then she comes out of the
Yeah, so she's covered
arches,
in blood.
Covered in blood.
Mm-hmm. And she has
Lan's thing.
exactly his little headband.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's a problem.
Okay.
Because you can take stuff out of here apparently.
Apparently.
Maybe. From what it
Maybe.
seems right now.
Who knows? But she's like, what happened? I don't remember it at all. Because
Yeah.
the other two she remembered.
Yes. Yeah.
To the point where she was like, we have to get to the two rivers and help them.
Yeah.
Right?
For the
Like,
second
she
one.
remembered it very well.
Yeah.
But this, she's like, what happened? I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't worry. That blood's not yours.
It's good. You're good. You passed.
You're good.
You made it out. That's the test.
Okay.
You made it.
You can be an accepted now. And
Yeah.
she's like, hold on, though. I just went through something super traumatic. Please stop brushing over the things I need to ask you about.
No. But you forgot one of the other most important rules.
Don't burden us with your shit.
Don't burn us with your problems.
Yep.
Yeah, so Sheriam gives her the accepted ring, but she doesn't accept it.
She doesn't accept
Yeah, you
the
like that?
accepted ring.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah, okay, so long story short, she rejects the ring and tells them, hey, if the point of this is to reject, like, everybody and choose the tower over all else, everything I love, everybody I know,
Then F you guys, I'm
not doing
going
it.
home.
I'm leaving. And then they give the threat, like, oh, if you walk out of this room, you're gone forever. And she's like,
that's
up yours.
the point. That's literally the point.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get the scene with Nynaeve packing in a room, and Egwene comes to try to get her to stay. But Nynaeve's like, hey, you don't need my protection anymore. You're all grown up.
Yep.
Yada, yada. And then Nynaeve leaves the tower.
Leaves.
Like, we do go pretty quick through this because this is 20 minutes. We got to get through all this stuff.
Yeah. Now, do we get to Lan?
We do.
Okay,
Yes, we get to land. So that's, like, basically where it ends is...
Because Lan, at
Yeah.
the end of last episode, was broken up with,
Right.
essentially,
Yeah.
by Moraine.
Yeah.
And was like, you got to go back to the tower.
Yeah, she was
See
like,
you
it's not
later."
me, it's you.
Yeah.
I'm
and,
leaving.
And so we're like, well, I guess this makes sense. He's on his way back to the tower.
Yeah.
An all discarded warder.
Technically, it makes sense from what we've seen. And then he says, Alana told me you were going through the arches, so I got here as fast as I could.
Right.
What happened? Like, and he knows. He's a warder, so he
Yeah.
knows the process of what happens. Like,
Yeah,
that's
slightly, sure.
at least a little bit to know
Yeah.
that things didn't go well because
Right.
she's here and she's leaving.
And she's leaving.
Yeah, and then
He's
she
like,
says,
I'll
"Hey,
go with you."
Yeah, that's so good. Like, I'm going to rivers, and
It's
Les
actually
says,
very
I'm gonna
sweet.
come along with you. It's so, and they kiss, and they're going together. And she's like, "What about Moraine?" He's like, "Don't worry about it.
Because
It's
she's a bee and
yeah." And then they
Let's go.
like, oh man, I just get gut punched because I was 100% tricked.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, yeah.
I know you weren't.
No, I was.
Were you tricked? I was originally, like the first watch through.
Originally.
Yeah.
Very much tricked.
I get tricked so easily.
And it's a departure.
Yeah.
From what we know. However, we know
things are different.
This is an adaptation. And we talked about that last time. This is just a new journey.
Yeah.
That's kind of following the same plot line, but I guess we're just going to go with it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the fun part.
It is
about
fun.
Watching the show, and we don't exactly know what's going to happen and what's not going to happen.
Yeah. So Nynaeve hears the phrase, the way back comes but once. We see the arch appear behind her, but then she turns too slow because she's distracted by Len's beautiful hair. Okay.
I was like,
she
feeling like the arch wasn't there long enough.
Right? It's a little bit...
I feel like the other 2 times it was there longer.
It's because she ignored the voice. She didn't acknowledge the arch. You got to acknowledge the arch. The arch was like, oh, you don't want me? Okay, bye. That's what it was like.
It felt too short, but...
Yeah, I agree with you.
Why they cut it down, because we're already
at 21 minutes. Yeah. we got to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then we have them turning to go on their way with their new life.
Right.
And then it cuts to the Lyanna, Sheriam, Leandrin, who are waiting for Nynaeve to return because now we've been fooled.
And then you see the magical weaving webbing.
Yeah.
Peter out.
Yeah, because I guess you can't wait forever. I wonder how long are you supposed to wait?
How long are you supposed to wait?
Or is there a feeling?
Is there a time frame?
Is there like that was long enough? It's like, I have dinner plans. I really need to get going. I double booked today. Like, what's the...
Well, I think there's probably a set timeline.
Right.
For when you call the person back.
There's like a max time frame.
There's probably a max time frame of if they're going to come back or not.
Right.
And if they don't, then that's it.
There you go.
Doorway gone.
It's shut. Way back comes but once.
And not again.
And then again late, but it's like, you got to wait a couple years, apparently.
You just got to force it
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Lyanna leaves. She's pretty upset. Leandrin is pretty cold about this. And then Sheriam feels bad.
I don't think Leandrin is cold about it. I think she's having some very serious feelings that she doesn't know how to cope with because this is all her fault.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That's what it
feels
like. Does she
view it as her fault? Or is she, disappointed?
No, she knows.
Yeah. She kind of seems like the kind of person who, lies about her emotions to herself, too.
Yeah, but she knows.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Sheriam feels bad for getting Nynaeve killed, and then she blames Leandrin pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then Leandrin, she throws the water pot and breaks it.
Yeah, because she's mad.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting because we just last week made some things out of clay.
Yeah.
Just for fun, for no reason, and we're bad at it.
It wasn't for no reason. It was Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day. Okay.
It was an activity.
I mean, it was an activity to do. I know, I get it.
Yeah.
I wish we made these vases with the Aes Sedai symbol on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Instead of the game board that I made that you broke intentionally.
I will fix it. That was clearly your own fault. You did a bad job on it.
I know. Clay's hard to work with, okay?
Yeah. However, I like this, and then she immediately smashes it.
Right.
I was like, whoa.
You would never, why would you, do you know how much work went into making that?
She doesn't.
She doesn't know.
Yeah.
She has no idea.
No clue. But next time, we should make that.
Okay, deal.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the cold open.
No, she's mad.
That's it.
Yeah, she's pissed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that ends the cold open.
Right. And then we get the title sequence? What's it called when the logo shows up?
Yeah. I don't know. Is there is there a TV show word
I'm sure there's
the picture, the
the wheel and snake thingy.
Yeah. Title screen thing.
That's what I said.
I don't know what else it would be called. There's probably a word for it, actually.
I'm sure there is.
Mm-hmm. But we don't know it.
No.
Anyways, shall we move on?
Yeah, because now the episode officially starts.
Right. Yeah, okay. All right, so we got some more tower stuff going on.
Okay.
So now we've got some ramifications of the fact that Nynaeve is now gone.
Shoot.
So first we've got Egwene and Elaine. They've got a little bit of a thing going on here.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah. All of it is just so whiplashy.
Mm-hmm.
In such a short amount of time, they make me feel so many things.
It's a lot to process.
Like you think...
Have you thought about taking your emotions and then just not sharing them?
In a little box?
Don't share them. Nobody wants to hear about your feelings. Because that's what Sheriam is going to tell Egwene and Elaine, because they walk into Nynaeve's room looking and Sheriam's there cleaning up.
Okay, listen. This would be a very dull podcast if I didn't share how I was feeling.
Right.
I don't know if people listen.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll never be Aes Sedai. I just want you to know that.
I'm okay with that.
You don't want to?
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right. That's fine.
No. There are a couple other factions I'd like to belong to, but
yeah,
we won't get into that just yet.
Okay.
Okay. But to first make us believe that Nynaeve passes her accepted test and then rejects the Aes Sedai, which is a total Nynaeve thing to do.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Like, I totally believe that that's exactly what would have happened.
She would do that.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a Nynaeve move.
Yeah.
And then to find out, no, turns out she didn't pass the testing, and she didn't make it out of the arches, and she's just
functionally dead.
She's just living her best life in alternate reality land.
Which might not be bad.
That actually sounds pretty great. It sounds better than this life.
Right. Okay.
And then we have to find out that Egwene needs to find out that Nynaeve didn't pass her test and she's never coming back.
Yeah. And it hits really hard. I think
what, like, in a matter of like moments.
Yeah.
All of this happens. It's wild.
Also, the reaction from Egwene hits really hard for me too, because she is told by Sheriam that Nynaeve is basically dead. She's not coming back. And Egwene's first reaction is like, well, no, I just saw her.
Okay. Well, I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
When we get to this scene, it's super interesting because we kind of get a timestamp as the audience.
Right.
Because Egwene and Elaine are having some banter as they walk through the hallway about being hungover.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they were drinking last night.
The moonshine, whatever you want to...
Whatever.
Elaine's
the
concoction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of a bottle with 3 X's on it.
Right. And we get a bit of an answer about curing hangovers, which is, I don't know, maybe, no?
Maybe we can, but we aren't going to right now.
Yeah.
We don't know it yet.
Oh, okay. It's the first thing I would do.
But we thought that an innkeeper's daughter would be better at holding her liquor.
Right.
I love that line from Elaine.
Which is really funny because it's Elaine judging Egwene, which is, it just seems so funny.
Yeah, and so they're on their way to Nynaeve's room while they're having this conversation, and then we get this timestamp that it's the next morning.
Yes. Yeah, because it was like the middle of the night thing that when Nynaeve went.
It felt like that, but Sheriam tells Egwene that Nynaeve went for her testing this morning. Mm-hmm. So it must have been like 6 a.m. type of situation.
I guess so, yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. All right, so Sheriam's like, hey, Nynaeve's dead. She's not coming back. Your grief is your own. Face it and grow stronger. And just know that you can take some time, but the pain's going to pass. So we're good.
So relax about it.
Which is also crazy because she's the mistress of novices. And it's like, we have no, like, this is how we handle things?
Yeah, we talked about this on our post-reaction.
Yeah, I still feel the same way about it.
But I also still feel the same way that Sheriam is also probably super duper old.
Yeah,
like hundreds of years old. We don't actually even know how old she is.
That's true.
And she's probably seen so many people die.
At least a handful.
And at this point, it's like, get over it.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter in 100 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
It's super cold. It's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have some, again, really heartfelt moments from Egwene because Elaine's like doing her best to try to comfort Egwene, but then Egwene shouts at her. I don't even know you.
I literally met you yesterday.
Yeah, which is, she's right. And it's like a totally natural, like I understand the reaction there.
Shut those people out. Shut them out.
And I like that Elaine doesn't let Egwene shut her out completely. She's still there as much of a friend as she can be for anything that Egwene needs. And she doesn't like get mad at Egwene for yelling at her. She doesn't hold that over her. Like, I think Elaine does.
She's very composed.
She is. I like Elaine.
She's a princess.
I like Elaine. She's a daughter heir.
We
do not use the word princess.
You like the way she looks.
Well, yeah, everyone does. So do you. Don't act like you don't either. I'm just saying.
No one in this show has
no one argued that every single person in the show is beautiful.
Attractive. Yeah.
Like,
I
come
understand.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not realistic.
That's the part I don't believe.
Every princess is beautiful.
No.
Give me a break.
No way.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's like history lessons about some who are not beautiful. I actually don't know that, but it's fine. The money makes up for it, right? Mm-hmm. The princessness, it's fine. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we have at the end, because we're just going to keep rolling through like these sequences here. Okay. We've got the end sequence after, it's like at the very end of the episode. We've got Egwene trying to open up the arches. Elaine comes in to basically explain that
this is never gonna happen.
It's not how this works. Like, we can't, that's not a thing that's gonna work here.
Yeah, Elaine is the official fact giver
Yeah.
for the audience
For us,
to
she's telling
understand
us.
what's going on.
Like, hey, we understand Egwene really wants this to happen, but, like, it doesn't matter how much Egwene wants it. No. And then the worst thing that is going to happen is, like, Egwene, she might die.
Yep.
Or worse.
Yeah. Expelled.
Be expelled.
Oh.
I know, I did it. I did it. Yeah. Okay. Now.
Okay, just so the people don't get mad, I'm going to take a drink of my drink.
Okay,
drink every time you make a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
Is part of the regular podcast.
Technically not for this,
Not
but you
for
can
this.
still have a drink.
I'm not going to take a shot.
Yeah, just
take a drink.
Just have a drink. Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is the part where I really like Elaine too, because she's being a very positive and encouraging friend here to Egwene. She tries to, like, pep talk Egwene by saying, hey, I heard about the attack on the Two Rivers, and I also heard that the Wisdom died during that attack. But she didn't, did she? Like, if anybody can come out of this, it's Nynaeve.
And, like,
She's got...
whoa, you really got your information exactly right.
Yeah, like, yeah, she does.
Wow.
It was a princess.
Yeah, daughter heir.
Yeah. But she does try to pep talk her. She's like, hey, don't throw your life away. We got this. And then she says, I'll stay with you until the morning. Like, I'll stay with you overnight. And she goes and grabs, like, some...
because Egwene says, that's all nice. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, and I get that, too.
She might still come out.
Yeah, and I get that.
And then Elaine's like, fine, then I'm staying with you.
Yeah, she'll grab the blankets and the pillows and such.
Yeah.
So, good friend. I'm giving Elaine props and points for being a good friend.
Yep. And turns out... Egwene having faith in Nynaeve was right all along.
Yeah, you always count on her coming through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the end of the sequence, and this doesn't happen until the very end of the episode.
Right, but we're going to follow this plot line all the way through.
All the way through, so it keeps sense in our brains.
It's super exciting.
Yeah, okay, so Nynaeve...
It really does become the main focus, I think, of this...
Yeah. Well, this was the majority of the entire episode. We do have other stuff that happens.
Yeah, quite a bit, actually.
A lot of stuff.
Some good stuff.
Let's finish this Nynaeve stuff. So she is in this alternate reality world Terangriel thing.
Having the best life.
Having the best time ever. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we got Perrin here.
Best little house.
Yeah.
Uncle Perrin.
Uncle Perrin's playing with her daughter Elnor.
Yes, which is her mom's name.
Yeah, and we saw that from the first testing sequence.
That's right.
And we've got Lan being Papa.
Yeah, we also have Lord Matt.
Lord Matt coming in a horse looking all good and stuff.
Looking super good.
Right. And Lan is inside. His hair is let down.
So long and
luxurious.
flowy.
What kind of product does he use on that hair? I don't know.
He just brushes it 100 times every night.
100 times isn't enough times.
It's enough.
I feel. It can't be.
It's enough.
Not for that.
That's what we need.
Okay, and then there's the note that's passed because from Matt to
because
Nynaeve
he's Lord Matt of something or other.
Yeah, so there's a letter from Egwene. I like this part. She and the other Greens. So assuming that Egwene is now...
Egwene has become... So this is like, okay, time has passed.
Well, because they've got a kid. They've got a kid who's older. Several years old.
At least 3 or 4.
I know. I felt not confident the first time, and I still don't feel confident putting an age here.
I would say a young 4.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to peg this at about 5 years.
That makes sense.
Maybe a little more.
Okay.
Anyway, Egwene's an Aes Sedai with the green Aja.
Yeah.
And we get information about a Trolloc invasion in a place called Saldea.
Yeah, north in the Borderlands. Okay, so action sequence time because we got to bang on the door.
Oh no!
Because they're having this conversation, and then the daughter goes to the cellar with Nynaeve, which is very much like that first testing sequence. Oh my goodness!
Just like, oh my gosh, something I might fear for what might happen in the future.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. So then we got Lan fighting off the Trolloc that busts through the door, and then we go outside. Nynaeve goes out too, and she kills a Trolloc. So she's a badass. But then we've got Matt dead on the ground, and Perrin is getting killed, and then Lan is fighting and getting killed. Like, it is chaos, and it's not going well.
Yeah. Pretty much something Nynaeve would feer.
Which makes sense. Literally anyone should fear this, though.
Sure.
Yeah. An invasion with everyone.
A Trolloc attack that kills her family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it just,
I get it. Okay, so now Nynaeve channels. This makes her angry enough.
Oh, so angry.
Right. Or
she's
sad.
So powerful. Both. No, I would say angry.
Okay.
I would say she's so angry.
Okay. Yeah.
distraught, overwhelmed with emotion.
Sure, yeah.
No
Kills the remaining Trollocs.
No matter what we want to call that emotion.
Yeah. So kills the Trollocs, can't save Lan, he is dying and then dies.
Right. And then the daughter comes running out and is like, Mommy.
This one, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
I hate this, actually.
It's a fantastically emotional, wonderful scene, and I hate it.
It really
I hate having to watch
drives
it.
a spike in my heart as a parent.
Yeah.
Of
right?
a literal 4-year-old daughter.
Yeah.
At this moment in time.
Like, no thanks. Why would you do this to me?
I really don't love it. So
yeah.
She's channeled in this place where she definitely shouldn't be able to channel.
Yeah.
And she's created her own escape.
So are we assuming that this is... Well, I mean, Egwene is, asleep on the ground at that point when she comes out. So that makes sense, yeah.
Nynaeve created her own escape.
Yes.
She
made nothing Egwene was doing technically worked or helped. Okay.
Nothing.
I just want to put that out there.
I believe nothing.
100% it was Nynaeve.
100% Nynaeve.
You know what? I agree with you.
Okay. So she creates her own archway in which to escape with her daughter.
Right.
She's like, come on, we gotta go.
Because you don't leave your daughter there.
You don't.
For the Trollocs.
Yeah.
It's going to turn into the Dark Friend social scene where that...
No,
oh, man.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
This is actually more terrible.
This is terrible.
So she runs through, and her daughter isn't in her arms anymore.
When she comes through, but she's still imitating holding her daughter. I hate this so much.
It's
this
the
like,
worst.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching.
It's horrible.
Terrible. It makes sense why she just starts like screaming and crying.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Because you have to imagine she lived like 5 years.
5, 6 years 7 years of her life.
Like, who knows exactly how long, and everyone's dead, and now like your daughter is not here, doesn't exist. And like potentially never
your
like
whole life with Lan, like everything's gone. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
And we
this
know
is the worst trauma.
And we know the Aes Sedai do not have good therapy.
No, none actually.
Where's the bucket of water? And where's someone telling me to suck it up and not...
Your fears are your own.
Keep
Don't
it to yourself.
Me with your problems.
Where is that help? Yeah. Where is that help right now?
Well, and Egwene is relatively young and self-involved.
Sure.
And all she really cares about is how this has impacted her.
I mean, you're not wrong. We don't really get a lot of interaction besides Egwene just like hugging.
Be like, oh my God, you're here? Because they wake up.
What? Because the scream crying. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, she's back. And that's kind of where we end.
And we're like, yes, I knew she could do it.
Yeah.
And this is better.
Yeah.
I'm not looking.
Like, I appreciate that she's...
This is better for plotline.
Yeah.
In terms of plotline.
I like that Nynaeve is here and back. I don't like what she had to go through.
Oh my gosh, so traumatic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That was the entire arc for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll be right back to cover...
the tower stuff still. There's still more tower stuff.
Tower stuff. Shan Chen stuff.
Yeah.
Kyrian and Party.
We got stuff to talk about.
We got lots of stuff to talk about. So we'll be right back to talk about all of that. Okay, so we're back. Here we go.
Yes.
Are we going to talk about Matt and Min now?
Not quite yet. We got to do a little bit of Leandrin stuff first.
Leandrin.
So this is the aftermath of Nynaeve not coming out.
Right, okay.
So
she's mad.
She's mad. And that leads Leandrin to showing up in Matt's cell while he's sleeping. And I love the sarcastic lines Matt is throwing out.
It's so good.
It's like the driest, most hilarious humor. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. Typical Matt.
Yeah, he's like, is this a I'm here to murder you thing? And then Leandrin's just like, basically tells him we lost a super powerful sister this morning and someone she respected.
Okay.
And she realizes that she's been wasting her time here with him, this
stupid
loser.
Matt, because of stupid
idiot,
Moraine.
Stupid Moraine, making me spend time with this stupid loser
the
Matt.
Worst. We hate Moraine.
Right? So you're free to go and get the heck out of here. But she does tell him that Egwene is in the tower and she could use a friend right now.
A friend?
Yeah.
And Matt's like, what's the catch?
Right. Because he's like, okay, so like 5 months, I've been here 5 months. And like, what is the point of all this?
What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Go
but she
away.
insults him a lot too. Like she says a lot of pretty hurtful things.
Yeah.
And like, she says insidious coward and stupid and a desperate boy who blames his friends for leaving him. Like she digs pretty deep into him. And then like leaves.
feeling her own
Yeah.
feelings
Yeah.
right now. That's more projection than anything else, Matt. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, like, don't take it to heart, but okay. So that leads Leandrin to going to melt down Nynaeve's ring, the accepted ring, because we saw that with the water death and
When Egwene shows
like and the
up.
Aes Sedai death in the first season.
Yep.
But then it's the same little like fire pit thingy where they melt down those rings. So that's kind of cool. And then Egwene approaches, and she's
then
got some
that's
stuff
what
to
spurs Egwene
Yeah.
to go try to save Nynaeve, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she's here. Egwene is here to blame Leandrin for this. Leandrin doesn't bite at first, but then Egwene has to go and set the door on fire, and then Leandrin has to turn back and like walks her to the edge. Which
Yes.
again, we got to talk
We
about
got to talk about these railless
safety here.
yeah,
What are we doing, guys?
giant balconies without any railings.
I would hate it. Like, I do not like heights.
Okay,
I don't like heights.
let me
I could not.
tell you about me. I don't mind heights. I can be high up.
Sure.
I'm scared of falling.
Well, that's a reasonable fear. Yeah,
So
for sure.
I can be in a building looking at a window that's really high up. And
We've been in
feel
big,
okay.
tall towers, and like standing on those glass panes on the
Because
floor.
I'm scared it's going to break and I'm going to fall.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm
Yeah.
scared of falling.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay.
So
yeah.
are most people
Maybe.
who are scared of heights
Afraid of falling?
afraid of falling?
Can it be both?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I'm more scared of balconies
Yeah,
than being high up in a building.
sure. You know
But
what? That, yeah.
I'm also scared of even just like a second story stairway.
Stairs in general.
Honestly, going downstairs
Yeah.
gives me vertigo, and I'm scared of falling down them.
Yeah.
Like, my fear is falling.
Yeah, you also don't have a great track record, though, so.
I think that's why.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, so we're gonna walk Egwene back to the edge of this, and then Leandrin gives her like a little speech about how she sent her through the arches because she believed in her. But hey, it's not always the most powerful women who write history.
It's the smartest.
No, it's the ones who survive. And that's a very good point. And
Yeah.
calling out Egwene for being like, hey, we know you were like one-upped basically by Nynaeve, but you're still here.
And
you can
she's
still
not.
write history. You're not dead yet. So, I mean, maybe it's going to be turning some attention to Egwene, like one of those things.
Yeah.
Now we get to Matt.
So Matt,
Matt's a complex character. He's got issues.
really wanted him to go to Egwene.
Did you?
Yes.
You wanted that, okay.
Because I felt like it would have been a little bit of a redemption for him,
Sure.
for his like internal character.
Yeah.
Because he's been stuck in this place ever since he essentially left his friends behind.
Yeah.
And so if he goes to Egwene, at least he's done that. I think he's too scared of what her reaction might be to him.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't.
I agree.
And I wish that he did.
That's
'Cause
hard.
I want him to overcome that,
Yeah.
but he doesn't.
He doesn't. He bails and he doesn't
He's
go
just
to
a
her.
regular flawed character, whatever.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. So we see Matt leaving his cell immediately. And then I was like,
And like having nowhere to go.
but also like, go see Min. Like, get her out too, like first.
Yeah.
But then he goes to see Egwene first. And then he
He
comes
like
back.
wanders around and happens on Egwene
Yeah.
and then leaves before she even sees her.
Right.
Sees him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he goes back to get Min, and then he's like, he does it in the funniest way possible too. Like instead
Because
of
he
like
opens
opening,
it up and is like, come over here for a second.
but instead of
And
like
she's
opening
"The
her door, I don't
door's
know.
open."
If you don't have a key, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so he goes back through into his cell.
Yeah.
And he's like, come here.
Yeah.
And then she looks and is
Come
like,
see this.
the door is open. And he's like, I know. I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't care where I'm going, but I'm leaving.
Not here. I'm gonna leave this place. And then I do appreciate that he follows after her.
Yeah.
I love the Matt and Min relationship
I know. And it actually annoys me.
because of the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Because I really wanted this relationship to be more meaningful.
Right. Yeah. I
And
get
the fact that it's not organic
Yeah.
annoys me.
So, do you think that the beginning of the relationship was organic, and then Leandrin like figured out that he was tunneling through the wall,
Probably.
and then was like, "Oh,"
You know what? Yes.
because I can believe like the beginning, but it's also like one of those things. I don't think that Matt is necessarily as sneaky as he thinks he is in the cell, or on Min's side of things. Like it was picked up on that they're tunneling through the wall.
Yeah.
So maybe the beginning was, and then Leandrin.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
it's interesting too because Matt has a big old dresser
Yeah.
in front of this hole, but on Min's side of the cell,
what does Min have?
what's over there? Because he just like busts the rock in.
Yeah. You have to imagine she found something to put there. Poster.
Spice
Right?
Girls, yeah.
Right, yeah, okay. Anyways, okay, so the end sequence here. So they're packing up to leave because they're getting out of here.
Yeah.
And then Min's like, I got to get one more thing, goes into a building.
One flatbread, please.
One flatbread, please, for the trip. And then
That's what you were getting?
Yeah, I was hungry. Leandrin's here, and then Min tells her, yep, he's coming with me. And Leandrin asks if she knows the way, and Min says yes. We don't know where yet. We don't get that information.
It doesn't seem great, and I don't love it. It annoyed me.
It seems bad. And then Leandrin says, like, hey, if you succeed, Moraine won't have anything over either of us again.
Mutual gain.
Mutual gain, something, something. Because Min's got those visions and all that stuff, I guess.
Min's got the visions that clearly Moraine knows about, and Leandrin has the man in North Harbor, who now we know is her old son.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Okay.
That is the end of the tower stuff.
Wow. So much.
That was probably like 70% of the episode, I feel.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rand.
You want to do Rand next?
I do.
Okay, you gotta get into this. That's
I really do. Cool. I've been waiting because I really love Celine.
Okay, so well, first off, we gotta talk.
I love Logain.
We gotta talk about
Celine and Logain are like my favorite characters.
They're pretty great.
I love them.
They're pretty great. Okay, so Rand is working at the hospital. Turns out there's a reason he got the job that he went for this in the first place, and he's now taking over the job that he beat the guy up for.
I can admit.
Yeah.
When I'm wrong.
Okay.
And I was so wrong because I really thought that this was just happenstance.
Right.
But nah, this is so calculated.
Yeah, and the little smirk that Rand gave at the end of last episode.
Yeah, and
for like
Logain
showing up
being
here.
Like, are you gonna ask what you want to ask already?
Yeah. It's good, okay.
But oh no, Logain's crazy.
Well, okay, so we get some really good information here. So Rand is bringing food to Logain. And then he's like, hey, the last guy brought me red wine with dinner. Because Logain likes a good Gildan red.
Yes.
Gildan red?
Gildan.
A red wine from Gildan. Okay. Mm-hmm. And
that's where we saw Logain walk in that castle in season 1.
He was taking over.
He was taking over.
Exactly.
It was Gildan.
So Logain goes into this big story because he 100% calls out Rand for being here. And he's like, I remember you from Tarvalin. Now, I love this callback to that scene because we had Rand watching the parade with Matt. And we had the Logain in the cage doing this crazy laughter scene.
Yes.
Freaky, and we weren't sure if he was like looking at Rand or Matt because Matt was still cursed with the dagger stuff. Yeah. Like we didn't know what the heck was going on here. But Logain says, I remember seeing you. When another man can channel, there's a glow that he can see. And Rand's was brighter than any he's ever seen. And he knew Rand would shake the world, and he couldn't help but laughing. And now they're both here together. Like, that's not a coincidence. I know what's going on. Now, ask what you want to ask.
Do you know what my favorite part of that flashback scene is?
Which part?
I forgot how young they made Rand look last season.
Oh, yeah, they did.
They really, really matured him this season. Like,
well, and
just
he bulked
with that
up.
buzz cut.
And he bulked up.
And he's clearly been sword fighting with Earl. And what's his name? Carl? No, it was Earl. Errol, whatever. Whatever his name is. And it's just so funny because they really, really, last season, did such a good job of making him look like this just young, green farm boy.
Well, and that's what happens when you get a really, aggressive girlfriend, I was going to say, which we'll get to. Because
assertive. I like the word assertive.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with aggressive. I'm going to stick with my chosen words. I'm okay with it. But here's the thing. This is the setup to the whole party thing. Because Rand asked the question, how do I control the power inside me? And then Logain has to go and say,
Get me some red wine.
Give me some good red wine from Gildan, and I'll answer your questions.
I said this in the recap, and it still stands. When I go crazy, I also only want red wine.
That's fair, yeah. Which, it makes sense.
Sure.
Makes sense. So that puts Rand on the hunt for
the Gildanin red wine.
The Gildanin red wine.
Now, before we jump into breaking into a party to steal wine.
They don't break in. They sneak in. They
crash.
They crash it.
They crash a party.
That's right.
To steal red wine. But before that happens, we learn a lot more about the call for the hunt of the horn.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We get like the backstory
of
on
Valier, the Horn of Valier.
Yeah, so Ilion, one of the cities in the south, every like couple hundred years does a whole big thing where they're like, hey, hunt for the Horn of Valier. And then
we're like,
in
hey,
Kyrian, they're like, hey, let's do that.
As an audience of this show.
Yeah.
As a viewer of this show, I've heard of that before.
Because we already found it.
And then it was promptly stolen by Pat and Faye.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And we are currently on a
hunt for the horn.
Yeah. That's
So
literally
that's
what Perrin and crew are doing.
That's what they're
hunting
doing.
for the Horn of Valier.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, there's like this other hunt for the Horn, which is a big sham, turns out.
Huge.
But that's how you get rid of the poor people from your city.
Ugh, and Rand hates that.
Rand doesn't like it, but all the rich people are like, yeah, that makes sense. So, nothing new there. I don't know. Okay.
Now,
let's go crash this dinner party.
super cool. Super cool that Celine is just down to crash a super fancy party.
You see that coat that she got him? Clearly, she had to have gotten that coat. Like, Rand isn't going and buying that for himself.
No, never. Because she's like, we gotta sneak into this party. You gotta look the part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta, like, get the...
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love the coat. It's so good.
Okay. But I also... Because I'm going to say
we're gonna
now...
go to party time, though.
I'm going to say now, even though it happens later, she makes him keep the coat on when they're doing it.
And it gets a little spicy. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Let's go to party time, though, because
Right.
we're also going to get some politics and a history lesson.
Yes.
With
yeah.
Anvir.
Lady Anvir, yeah. So we've got the Lady Dulaine first, who comes up to... So Rand and Celine, they're in the dinner, whatever.
No. They're in the after party.
Is it the after party? I don't understand it.
Okay, so...
Explain parties to me, because I don't know. It was a dinner party, and now it's the after party?
Imagine a wedding.
Sure. Oh.
And you're invited to the reception.
Right, okay.
But you're not invited to the ceremony or the dinner.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
That's what this is.
Okay.
That's what this is. So you've snuck into the party.
You're at the party.
The party part.
Right.
After the dinner part.
Right.
And people are like, who is that?
Right. So they think that he's like an outland lord or whatever.
Yeah.
And we get the Lady Dulaine who comes and invites them to dine next week.
Just gives them a letter.
A letter, yeah. And then we get from Celine saying, hey, all these nobles are trying to figure out, like, who we are, who you are. Are we outland nobles? Like, what's the story? Because, like, you can't just crash noble parties. But apparently, if you buy a nice enough coat, yes, you can.
Absolutely
can. Which is a rule for life, I think.
I agree. But what we do have to talk about is Rand taking that invitation and throwing it in a random fire that's just burning in the corner of this room.
Well, yeah, because they don't have, like, heating systems back then. You had to have, like, fire barrels, I guess.
I don't know what that is.
It's a fire barrel.
It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
I love the burning of the letter.
It's so funny.
It's a perfect nod.
Well, because she's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
How are you going to respond to this? And he's like, there you go. That's how I'm going to respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's a power move.
So good.
Yeah. So now at this point, pretty much Celine comes back with the bottle of red wine that Rand needs.
Yep.
And he just got the whole monologue about how the hunt for the horn that Kyrian is putting on here is basically fake.
Yeah.
And it's designed to get the people to, like, leave the Foregate, which is like the party city.
Because during this history lesson, we also get another nod to the Aiel War that happened here in Kyrian.
Yeah, so 20 years ago, and then basically the Aiel invaded, everybody came around to the city, like Kyrian, the capital, and then spread out around the outside, which is now called the Foregate, and now they want all those people gone, because it's just a party town, and they're poor people, and the rich nobles don't like that, so they are doing the hunt for the horn to get them out. And Rand is offended by that, and he
can't believe it.
Yeah, so he's upset.
Incredulous.
Yeah, and Celine's like, well, duh, this is the most political city in the world with all the scheming. So Kyrian...
And then we get note 2, the Game of Houses.
The Game of Houses, yeah. And we said this in the initial reaction, but this is where Game of Thrones got Game of Thrones. It's because the Game of Houses is a thing in the Wheel of Time. Yeah, 100%. So Rand is upset. He leaves Celine. He bails. Hard.
And she is so mad.
She hates this.
I would be mad too.
Right? Like, she's not necessarily in the wrong here.
This is not a good move, Rand.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Even the fact that they're here, clearly she orchestrated this entire thing. She was going
to get the thing you needed.
To get the thing
this
you
was for
asked
you.
for.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even ask you why you wanted it.
Right? Like, no questions
She was just
asked.
down to crash a fancy party and steal wine for you.
Right.
And have fun. Like, she thought this was just going to be like a fun night together.
Right.
And then you're a jerk about it.
You go and ruin it, Rand.
He really does.
Yeah, he does.
So moody.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, so anyways,
Rand.
we're going to cut because Rand is going to bring the bottle of red to Logain so we can finally get some answers. And the answers
Turns out, Logain's crazy.
Yeah. Well, no, he says he's not, though.
Oh.
He's like, I'm not crazy.
Everyone else is crazy.
Everyone else is crazy. I'm not crazy. And Rand wants to know how to stop from using the power. And Logain's like, well, yeah, you can't do it. And then does the craziest thing and wastes like half of this bottle of wine. He pours it in the cup. And he's like, hey, this is what it is like to try to not use the power. And spills out of the cup.
It's his first lesson.
Like, and I get it.
It's a lesson, though.
It's a good lesson.
Like, he's crazy, but it's a good lesson.
You could do the same lesson with a jug of water. You could do the same.
Don't waste the Gildan in red.
You just said it's really good wine.
He'll probably still drink it.
From the ground?
Probably. He's crazy.
Good point. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Got me there.
And then he's like, I am the real dragon.
There's no madness at all. It's all a ploy by the Aes Sedai.
Right, to punish men.
Yeah, and they know that only the dragon can defeat the Dark One. And Logain's like, the blood of Luz Theron Telamon flows in my veins, and I can hear the whispers. Which we did get to hear Logain's whispers in season 1.
Yeah, we did.
But Rand is looking like he's regretting going on this entire conversation track here.
He's like, shoot.
Yeah, and I think Rand disagrees with him about who is the real dragon here.
Yeah, because he knows he's the real dragon.
He heard it. He heard it.
Yeah.
He knows he's the real one. I don't know. It's tricky.
It's super tricky.
Okay. All right. So now Rand shows back up at home. Selena is very angry and tells him,
like, never leave me again.
or I'll kill you.
Yeah. And I believe her.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So if at any point we're like, oh, is this a good person? Like, she's pretty angry.
Well, who's worse, Rand for leaving her at the party or her for wanting to kill him for it? Who's really worse here? You tell me.
Yeah. She's like pretty serious though, and then gets like super weird.
She's super into it, and then you're going to do it, and we're going to keep the coat on.
But then also...
Yep.
Is it just a dream though, you know?
Is it?
It's like kind of weird because like, so it's so spicy.
It's a spicy scene.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
The doing it is so hot that it sets the inn on fire.
Well, but he's sleeping early. He's sleeping.
I know.
And then it gets on fire.
That's what makes me think
there's the weaves going around him and stuff.
But it might be like a dream.
Dream doing
like, are
it.
they actually doing it?
Right.
Or is it just later? I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. And I think maybe that's the point. Is it's hard to tell? Because I don't think we're necessarily supposed to think that Rand is doing totally okay either.
Yeah,
like,
fair.
We see Logain, he thinks he's doing
a male
fine.
channeler who's...
Yeah. And Logain thinks he's doing great. And maybe trajectory-wise, Rand is also going to think he's doing great. When in reality, maybe not doing so great,
Even
you know?
right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even right now. So anyways, he sets the inn on fire.
All in all...
Yeah.
The inn actually is on fire.
It actually burns down, yeah.
And then Celine's like, oh, fuck.
I guess.
Shoot.
I guess.
I wish you didn't do that.
Shoot, okay, yeah. And that's the end of the Rand and Selene segment for this episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's good. I liked it. I loved the party. It was probably my favorite part of this.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I condone the Rand-Selene relationship.
I wish you wouldn't. Okay. So, it feels bad. Now, we're going to jump over to the last plot point.
Yeah, the last big segment here.
The huge one.
Yes, short, but very impactful. Seanchan, Perrin, the Shienarans, Loyal. Uno, Elias. Oh my goodness, okay.
All of it.
So, they just got attacked in the middle of the night last episode.
Yes.
They all got taken. And now we're all in the morning time here. Everybody's being tossed around and lined up for presentation to the big, top dog lady.
On the palanquin.
Yeah, which is a word I don't understand how to say.
It is. That's what it is.
I trust you.
Yep.
Okay. So, Loyal, and we should also be very concerned about this. So, Loyal has never read or heard of these people. And that's Loyal. And he likes books.
Oh, no.
So it's like, whoa. What are we dealing with here?
Uh-oh.
Book guy doesn't know what the heck is happening either.
Okay. Now, what I do like is we have the Shanshan with an American accent.
Yeah.
Almost Southern.
Yes. Canonically correct, book accurate, I just gotta say.
So we know that it's different than your typical sort of English, Irish, Scottish accent.
Yeah.
That's typical to fantasy.
How come Canadian accents are never the cool, mystical ones? Like, what's happening here?
It's not the go-to. But we know that the Shanshan people are from a different part of the world because they have a different type of accent.
Yeah, which is really funny, too, though, because in the books, and I will spoil this just with the accent, because it was described as like a Texan drawl for these people. Slow drawl. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking,
yeah. And then when people find out that it's supposed to be like an American accent, it's like, really? Like, okay. Like, I guess we're doing this, but it's a funny little twist, and it really doesn't matter, but it's funny.
Right. So on the palanquin, we have Suroth.
Yes.
High Lady
Suroth. She's the top dog lady.
Sitting down with her nails and face gold thing.
Veil thingy? Like, I don't even know what you want to...
Yeah, I would say veil.
Okay.
And then we also have Ishmael.
Yes.
Off to the side.
Which is concerning.
In case you forgot.
Yeah.
And then we have Alwyn.
Yes.
Who is Suroth's voice.
Yeah, she's doing the majority of the talking.
But
Suroth does say a little bit. Yes. Yeah. So she does the talking.
And she has almost like a mask.
Yeah.
Type of situation.
It's like a thing going on.
Yeah.
Pretty cool
but
costumes.
Not her whole face covered. Now, Alwyn is played by Jessica Boone.
Yeah.
And that is Guy Roberts' real life wife.
Guy Roberts being Uno.
So
in real life,
we talked about this last episode.
Is married to Alwyn.
Alwyn up
which
on
is,
the thing.
Yeah.
And so it's funny.
It's funny because she basically is the cause of his death.
His death, that's about to happen.
Yeah.
So we see the Shanshan and these crazy looking people.
Yeah. So we've seen these people, the Channeler girls.
Yep.
We saw them at the end of season 1.
And we saw them at the end of the last episode.
Exactly. So with the channeling, so we
the
have...
one with like the mouth gag
gag thing. So we've got the build up to understand that we do not like these people or their situation. So we have her going around to inspect the villagers. It's super tense.
And then they're pointing out girls.
Yes. Yeah, and Uno doesn't like this, for the record. He wants to do something about it, but then we've got Ingtar being like, well, we don't have weapons, we can't do anything, like, we're outnumbered, like, we can't. Yeah. And Uno's like, well,
They're using channeling as a weapon.
I love it, though, because Uno's like, well, I have a knife. And it's like, you have one knife amongst all you, Uno. I get it, but... yeah, so they take a couple of the girls. It's not great. And
bad, in fact.
Yeah, bad, in fact. And then the speaker... The voice, Alwyn, tells them that they're all a bunch of squatters on stolen land, and they are here to take it back. So she does like a little monologue and says...
A little history.
Yeah, when the fleet of Luther Pandrag crossed the Arth Ocean, so a long time ago, basically what you got to do now, you got to swear the oaths, and then you're going to share in the prosperity of the Shanshan Empire here and across the sea. So, like, it sounds good. Swear the oaths, and it's good to go.
No problem.
No problem.
Uno says, feck that.
Feck that. I'm not swearing your feckin' oaths.
Yes.
And I love it.
I hate it, though.
Yeah.
For what happens.
It is shocking, but also...
Devastating.
If you're shocking and also devastating. And also, but if you're gonna go out, like Uno being a badass, like if you're gonna go out anyway, it's spitting in the face of, these people. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Face of the enemy.
That's how you do it. So
it goes poorly for Uno.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Originally, when I first watched it, I had to cover my eyes.
Right.
I did. Like, I really... The Shanshan armor, their helmets...
Terrifying, right?
Too scary.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I don't like creepy things. I don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
I don't love that stuff. And... Still too scary, but I'm a little desensitized because I've seen it enough now.
Right.
I was able to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
And now that I've seen bloopers...
Well, and also we literally got to talk to Guy Roberts about him shooting this scene and how it was like the green screened, but he had to put his mouth over the spike and it was like super uncomfortable.
It was like a foam thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hope there's no green screen bloopers that can make this look unflattering.
Yeah. So like getting to see that with Uno and Guy Roberts, like that was really cool too. But anyways, this scene itself is very shocking. He basically gets impaled through the face with the spike because he didn't swear the oaths. And that is how the Shanshan do things here.
And then the rest of them are like, I guess we have to do what they say.
Well, and for the record, so we have Suroth, High Lady Suroth, who has her voice doing 99% of the talking. But at the end, Suroth herself...
And she does her finger wagging.
Yeah, a little finger wagging to like give signals or whatever on what to do.
Yeah.
But at the end, Suroth is the one who says, all will bow. So she can talk. Just for the record.
Oh, she can.
She can, and does apparently sometimes, and
but
does here.
But she's so high up.
Oh, yeah.
That she doesn't have to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the oaths, for the record, to obey, to await, to serve.
That's all you have to say.
Seems pretty simple.
And then live a great life.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
What's the catch? No catch.
That's it.
Give up some of the people. That's fine.
That's all there is.
That's all it is.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. Okay,
Except
so
extremely bad and terrible, and I hate it.
Yeah. So everyone starts kneeling. Perrin stands a little bit longer than everybody else because he's still being defiant.
Yeah, and we know that Perrin inherently has this good versus evil internal turmoil happening.
Yeah, I feel like he sees things too black and white also, like a lot of the time.
Right.
Like I kind of do agree with Ingtar here.
Yeah. With the Tinkers. And he couldn't imagine that they lived this life without violence.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I gotta stand up for what's right.
Well, I also agree with Perrin on that, though.
Yeah.
I agree with Ingtar's point of view with this. Like, this isn't the time to fight back.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's not going to work. If we want to actually be effective, we can't.
But
I also agree with Uno being like, no.
Yep.
You know, feck these guys, so.
Feck them.
Feck them. Okay. Anyways.
Okay. Fast forward.
Yep.
Captors.
Captive. He's captive. Yeah. Well, he's being transported in a prison wagon.
Yeah.
We're being taken away. And then a Ishamael appears in the wagon.
Shoot. And Perrin recognizes this guy as the dude from the dreams from season 1.
Yeah. And it's like all connected.
The viewer didn't know who this was.
Yes.
We get a little flash of the like burning
Fire eyes
guy.
That's this guy. All right. So Ishamael tells him he's part of a caravan going to Falma.
No, Falma.
Yeah, okay.
Falma
is the book.
Is the way that we pronounce it when we read the books.
That's because that's the way it's supposed to be phonetically said.
The Falm.
Falm is what the TV show
pronunciation
says. Pronunciation
is how we do it in the show.
So we're going to Falma. And...
no one's going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, couldn't possibly. No. All right. There's some important stuff that's happening here. So Ishamael is being kind of a jerk, gotta say.
Well, he knows about the wolf stuff, turns out.
He knows about the wolf stuff. He knows about Perrin's eyes and the yellow stuff. We know Perrin knows at least a little bit about
yellow eyes. You mean the golden eyes?
Golden eye stuff. The issue is that Ishamael is painting a picture that the wolf thing is super evil.
Oh, yeah. And he says, the more wolf you are, the more you are mine.
And he says, I want to meet the monster inside you. And it already seems like Perrin's having a hard time with this.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Debating,
But it's like this Ishamael, Father Eli's bad guy, he's being mean.
He's what?
He's bullying. He's bullying Perrin.
That guy who's the Dark One's lieutenant?
Like the incarnate, the devil, basically. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
He is being
bad.
A mean person.
And he's making Perrin question who he is on the inside and...
on the outside.
Not that I love this by any means.
Sure, okay.
But as a book fan, I kind of love it.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
I kind of love painting the picture of Perrin's inner turmoil and why he wants to fight against this wolf thing so bad.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we got wolves starting to howl in the background here. Ishamael knows that the wolves are here. And then we got the Shanshan channelers trying to blast the wolves, but the wolves are too fast.
Right. And the Shanshan channelers we know are called Damani.
Yeah. Yep. That's the word for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a big rescue plan because Ishamael's going to leave. He's like, hey, Perrin, I'm going to be keeping my eye on you, so have a good one. He pieces out. And then Elias is here to rescue Perrin.
Right. But it kind of a little bit feels like Ishamael helped Perrin escape? ? Like, it's weird.
Yeah. Unless all you want to do is just, like, be a shit disturber. which it seems like he's a little bit of that.
I know.
Yeah. Well,
I know.
because, okay, so this is the thing.
He almost wants to make Perrin believe that the wolves are coming
Yeah.
to help him because Ishamael told them to.
But here's the thing that we've talked about, I think, in the past, but I'll say it again. So it's kind of like Star Wars, where the whole point isn't to kill all the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's to recruit
Get
the good
them
guys
to your side.
join the dark side, Luke. Like, that's
We got
literally the
cookies.
point. We have cookies, right? and healthcare,
Yeah.
right? Like, come to the dark side. That's that's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to defeat our good guys, our protagonists. We want them to join
No,
us.
because usually they're really strong and smart.
Unless they're like kind of making us angry, then sure. But like, you know,
Only after we try really hard, though.
I'm gonna kill you a little bit, but then I'm not gonna kill
We
you.
always
Join
try
you.
really
Join you.
hard, and then the good guys never kill the bad guys when they should,
Exactly.
and then they get almost killed.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
That's how it works in every
It's a
story
whole
ever
thing.
told.
Anyway, my favorite is Elias
Yeah.
jumping in, who's our other wolf guy.
I love it. Yeah. Elias is pretty cool. So he's here for the rescue. And then he tells Perrin to follow the wolf. And then they're going to have, like, he's like, hey, follow that guy. Perrin wants to rescue everyone right now. But Elias is saying, no, we got to work in stages here. So you
this
first.
This is the rescue for you.
This is the first. And then we'll do.
I like that about Perrin.
Yeah.
He always is thinking of other people.
Yeah.
And to the point where it can get kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the rescue, man.
At
Work
this
on the
point-
rest of it after.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and now you know where they're going, potentially.
Yeah.
If we trust
Absolutely.
the Dark One's lieutenant.
Yeah,
But,
the
you know,
father of lies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I trust them. Why would he lie about this?
Well, this was something he like wants him to know the truth.
Exactly.
So it's okay. I trust him.
That's okay. There you go.
It's all good.
All right. Well, those are the big points.
Yeah.
I think we hit on everything here.
I think it's good. You know what I didn't talk about? My favorite line in the whole entire episode?
Okay.
When Celine says, "You're gonna miss the fireworks."
Oh, yeah.
It's
When are we
so
going to get
good.
to the fireworks factory?
No, it's so good. It's so good. Because in Kyrian we have
Fireworks.
fireworks.
Yeah. There's a lot of little like nuggets there.
Little Easter eggs. I love
Teeny
them.
tiny.
Love them so much. And we didn't talk about it. So
Yeah.
I love
so there
that.
you go. That's a good way to end.
And on that very heartbreaking end to this episode of Nynaeve losing everything that she had,
Right.
essentially,
Right.
but Egwene gaining Nynaeve back,
That's true. That's true.
it made me very eager to watch the next episode.
I know. Yeah.
It really did a good job. Like, there are some things, like, I'm not a huge fan of all the special effects. I think they're kind of cheesy.
Oh, come on.
I think
okay,
that
but
some
here's the
of
thing.
it's a little over dramatic. But in the end,
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it. Okay.
I know you do.
They released the first 3 episodes, so we got to watch to this point, and this is when we had to start watching 1 episode per week.
Right.
So that's also something to
That's
consider.
pretty big, actually. That's something to consider.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, as we say around here, it's part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Hey, thanks so much for sticking around. That's the end of another fun episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted and edited by Dani and Brett and produced by Dani and Brett with Passion Socks, Cody Feltz, Benjamin, Jamie Young, Megan, Jared Berg, Ricky Morissette, Adam, Mozyme, Michelle Forbes, MKM, Antoine Benoit, Lawrence Bradley, Colby T, Gabby Young, Rycat, Zane Sayaka, Matrix, Matt Truss, The Albatross, Bratimus Prime, Sarah Creech, Sims, and Saverio Bartolini. With music by Audionautics. Now, everyone, please be sure to go check out our Patreon page if you are interested in supporting us and the podcast. We'd love to send you some Patreon-exclusive merchandise as a thank you, plus you'll gain access to our episodes earlier than everyone else. And, at the time of recording, we have almost 50 bonus episodes for your listening pleasure. Find all that and more at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. As always, please be sure to give us a 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference in helping other people find us. And be sure to tell a friend, Riyadh, because referrals really are the best compliment. For general information about our show, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, and how to get in touch with us, visit thewheelweavespodcast.com. Thanks again for listening. This really is part of the pattern now.